Hi, it's Eliana. So today I am going to be discussing the results of my various remote viewing of Lockheed Martin's reverse engineering program of UFOs and Northrop Grumman's reverse engineering program of UFOs. And as well, Northrop Grumman has created various advanced fighter jet planes, various helicopters that can actually shapeshift. They have cloaking technology and they have holographic technology on them that can literally change their shape, and it could morph the physical aspect of the craft that's flying in the air. It could morph the shape. That's what holographic technology allows to do. And the holographic emitters that are placed on these black helicopters or black planes, military grade. That's what Northrop Grumman has been very good at, reverse engineering, whereas Lockheed Martin has been reverse engineering the triangular crafts, the disc-shaped crafts, the various pyramid, triangular crafts, and submarines. They've put nuclear technology and ionization technology, nuclear fusion and ionization, into the submarines, huge submarines that go deep diving all the way to the Marianas Trench and other trenches at the bottom of the ocean. So Lockheed is not just reverse engineering UFO craft, they're reverse engineering fighter jets as well. They have their own space fleet of crafts, fighter jets, space jets, shuttles, carrier craft that they reverse engineered, and they're using electrogravitics technology, magnetogravitic technology, electromagnetic. So it uses magnetization for the craft to operate it, plus the various levitation platforms that can dock with the craft and load cargo, whatever needs loading in remote areas, and the craft is then cloaked by a cloaking emitter shield, because anti-gravity reverse engineered crafts are based on UFO crafts that had crash landed and were collected originally by the government reverse engineering program, the US government. Then that was transferred over into Lockheed Martin assets, private aerospace company, in about 1971, when Lockheed Martin was close to going to bankruptcy. So they were given a guaranteed loan by the government, by Congress, United States Congress. It was a vote, tie vote, that gave Lockheed the guaranteed loan of billions of dollars. And it was a perfect out for the government to transfer whatever assets they had from crash site of UFOs to create a more diversified reverse engineering program that allows the aerospace company to sign a contract, NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. They'll never talk about the secrets. They'll never divulge anything. FOIA, can't use FOIA to get access to what they're doing, freedom of information. You cannot subpoena them. You cannot do anything to Lockheed or Northrop Grumman. They're untouchable, basically. Congress has no access to what they're doing. So oversight committees, intelligence community, DOD, they know what's going on inside Lockheed. Skunk Works. When Ben Rich said they had the tech to take ET home, and he was the director of Lockheed Skunk Works, he was speaking the truth when he said that. And they started doing, from what I remote viewed, they started doing levitation experiments with electromagnetic technology and spinning levitation discs that were later built into these crafts They started doing that from 1974 to 1978. These experiments where they had magnetization connected to these discs. They were spinning, metallic discs spinning on a platform, spinning in the air, 3 to 4 discs, huge platform testing in their, they have many different plants. They have plant 10, they have plant 42. It's a military plant on a military base in California near the Mojave Desert. That's where that testing is, and they can test anything they want there because it's hands off to civilians. So they started off with that when they got the money from the guaranteed loan. They were given that contract to advance levitation and anti-gravity technology as a base to start with. Then once they figured that out in the 1970s, they were able to start reverse engineering actual craft that the government gave them, craft that was recovered, anti-gravity craft, and creating electrogravitics, magnetogravitic type of craft, and also antimatter reactor high energy engines to put in these triangular shaped craft. They worked with many different shapes, mainly discs, triangles, pyramid type, triangular craft in shape and design. It has to be all aerodynamic and lift off easily and land in remote areas, and it has to have protective shielding and a warp bubble technology around it that shields it from radar and telescopes. So they have cloaking devices, they have quick transport that lands and lifts off in remote areas that Black Ops groups also use from Lockheed and Northrop Grumman. So that was all started in 1971, from 1971 and onwards. But Lockheed was studying gravitation and levitation in the 1950s. They had their own program for that already. Literally got a helping hand from the government to unload its reverse engineering program, the beginnings of it, to Lockheed. And then eventually Northrop Grumman found out about it because there was stealth technology being developed, and it was shared with them about certain type of metamaterials and plating on the craft to make them invisible. And that was also given to them, and they were read in. And so they have a lot of stealth technology, both Lockheed and Northrop Grumman, that they've developed. And that's what I ended up remote viewing, the different configurations of craft. They also use electromagnetic and ionized technology to create these nacelle engines, very small engines to put in the crafts, in the triangles in particular. And they study a lot of phenomenon out in the Gulf of Mexico, these triangular crafts. They're Lockheed's, and they are studying portal technology, natural portal phenomenon with deep diving equipment, because the Gulf of Mexico has interesting electromagnetic wave frequency in the water in the ocean that creates portals and potential wormholes. So the sphere craft surveillance, both Lockheed's sphere surveillance craft and their triangular craft, and non-human origin spheres that are not from Earth, that are extraterrestrial in origin, they have been studying all of this as the military and the scientists are doing their projects in the Gulf of Mexico, and the craft above are monitoring that and basically helping out with that. But what I didn't quite have was the history of the beginning of how the reverse engineering program started for Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. I had the bits and pieces of how the technology works and how all of that fits, how the craft are made, where they're made, how they fly, the thing I didn't have is the history of how the program started. Because the US government needed to keep their secret of what they had recovered in the 1940s. The Roswell crash, they had recovered 3 semi-disc craft with 4 to 8 bodies on board the crafts, 3 crafts that were shot down with an EMP scalar weapon. Even in the 1940s, they had that tech. It was shot down, 3 crafts. One was completely intact, and it was taken to Area 51 and other places. Then that parts of that tech was given to Lockheed to reverse engineer. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base got materials too from crash site retrievals as well, but it wasn't the main place where that stuff was researched and looked at. Eventually it all went to Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, and other aerospace companies, like the Aerospace Corporation as well. 1970s was the key. The government needed to leverage Lockheed somehow, and they bailed them out from bankruptcy by giving them a $250 billion loan. It allowed them to advance stealth tech, fighter jets, bombers, submarines, missiles, plus the advanced anti-gravity technology that they were given. And now they can 3D print a whole seamless craft if they want and replicate it. They have that ability, full anti-gravity, with nacelle drives, different types of engine systems, anti-gravity engine systems, ionized, antimatter, propulsion. They can synthesize that easily, and there's even more advanced black operations programs that get access to ET tech because of being higher up on the tier of reverse engineering programs. There's basically 3 tiers of reverse engineering programs of extraterrestrial technology, biologics, teleportation, replication, replicators, and other devices, holographic technology on these crafts, also the shielding technology that goes up on these crafts with metamaterials and precious metals that negate the G-force and negate the radiation on the crafts. So pilots, human pilots, can literally pilot these crafts that have been reverse engineered. So going back to the 3 reverse engineering program tiers. First one is the government and the military, secret military. They have their own reverse engineering programs that they co-shared with Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman. So those are the 2 tiers of programs, P1 and P2. Then there is P3, which is the Black Operations Group, as what it's called, the very advanced elite group that has psionic pilots and psionic soldiers. And that was started in 1947 when the crash site happened at Roswell, New Mexico. And the 4 pilots were probably synthetic biologics, gray/reptilian mixture of hybrid. And their craft, typical saucer-shaped, fully anti-gravitic craft, it started off with that original reverse engineering and went off and branched off to other technology being replicated and reverse engineered. So I talk about the Black Operations Group in detail in my new book of remote viewing, Lockheed Martin, and its reverse engineering program of anti-gravity craft. I go into detail, and I've created a new podcast that I'll link in the link below, talking about in further detail about what the Black Operations Group does, what they're involved in. There's also cloning centers and cloning facilities and stuff like that these programs are involved with, and that's talked about in my podcast, which is called Revealing Truth About UAP Alien Disclosure. That's what the podcast is called, and I'll be talking about further details concerning all these programs on the podcast, but I wanted to sort of put in the information how Lockheed's reverse engineering program of UFOs started, and then Northrop Grumman joined in, and other aerospace companies, and the governments can fully keep secrets. Russia, China, US, Canada, they have their own reverse engineering programs of UFOs. They're part of the Five Eyes countries: Canada, US, Australia, and other countries. So they've shared information concerning reverse engineering of extraterrestrial technology that has either been shot down, crashed on its own, or was even landed and sort of gifted to certain groups and programs on this planet to evolve humanity, supposedly, to a higher level of consciousness and technology not to be misused in inappropriate ways, but this technology has been all kept secret from humans, us normal humans, the citizens of the earth, because of these secret black ops, government, and aerospace programs being run in the background, reverse engineering UFOs and other advanced technology that we do not have access to currently, and they have no plans of bringing out the secret and letting us have this technology, because anti-gravity technology also is connected to free energy, 0-point energy that can literally clean up the oceans and pollution overnight. It can end poverty and famine, can end short supply of natural resources on this planet, and create a different world, a type 1 or 2 civilization on this planet. That's what this tech can do. And they don't want that getting out into the public for that to happen, because for the obvious reasons. That is sort of the baseline of the history of where these programs came and what happened. And again, what better way to hide a secret that you have anti-gravity technology and can reverse engineer it than put it in private hands of aerospace companies, where there's plausible deniability for the government. We don't have anything, we never did, there's no evidence of it, it doesn't exist. They can easily say that because they don't really have it anymore. It's somewhere else on private bases, underground facilities where this technology is being reverse engineered. Military bases, underground bases, hidden remote areas in the world where these programs are run, where you don't even think you would find it. It's because it's well hidden. It's a very well hidden secret that has been going on in organizations and programs for almost 90 years now. Well kept secret. That's how well these programs have been run, and they want to continue to run them that way, in secret. It is definitely about secrecy and keeping that going. It's well planned out, well thought out. The remote viewing gave me the beginnings of the technology, how it was done, when it was done, gave me dates and what the technology looks like. But it didn't quite give me the whole broad-based picture of how did these reverse engineering programs of these anti-gravity crafts, non-human origin craft, how did they start? What was the beginning of it. I know the middle and the current aspects of what's going on, but not the beginning, not the origins of the history. Now we know where it started and how, and it's still ongoing programs to this day. And they're advancing technology. They're learning more. These crafts are being flown. Lockheed Martin has anti-gravity Airbus, huge tic-tac shaped Airbus crafts with anti-gravity technology running them, and pilots piloting them because they figured out gravity, they figured out how to get around the G-forces, there's no radiation, the pilots are not going to die flying these crafts. They're transporting cargo, they're transporting personnel in these huge Airbus crafts, the Tic Tacs. They're much larger than what was seen in 2004 by the Nimitz crew. These ones are larger and they're cloaked. You don't see them flying around, they're cloaked. That's how good the tech is these days. And they have very small engine drives, anti-gravity engine drives. So it doesn't take a lot to power these crafts in the modern day, here and now version of what they have. It's been worked out. There's no problems anymore. These crafts fly. They're in use, and different programs on Earth use them and work with them. Fully decked out anti-gravitic craft. Electromagnetic, electrogravitic, antimatter propulsion. Some fly on plasma and other exotic matter, like even crystalline technology. They've made huge advances in anti-gravitic craft design and functionality. It works, it fully works, and it flies, and it does the job. That's what the remote series of 10 remote viewing showed, and extensive research into these programs and what they do today, how they all started. That's all in the book, and I wanted to share this for disclosure of what's going on. Thank you.